We're kicking things off with a delusional take from a proud American. And no, not Trump, but definitely someone who shares his vibe. This looks like a family video call where the son asked what it would look like if Canada became the 51st state. Spoiler alert, the kids make way more sense than the parents.
Let me ask you this. All the people that live in Canada,
It's not up to them.
okay. I'm not saying it is. I'm going with your theory. It's not up to them. They go broke. America just says you're the 51st state now. Every one of those people now starts into the Social Security program.
No, they don't.
Oh, they're the only state in the country that doesn't get Social Security?
They don't get Social Security until they pay into it, big guy.
Okay, so
They have paid zero.
Big guy.
so you get none of the benefit of being American and all the detriment?
That's correct. It'll take a couple of years before they get anything.
See?
They're going to be suffering big time.
Okay.
Quick reminder, not all Americans are like this. Plenty support Canada and didn't vote for Trump. But this guy? Yeah, he definitely did. He straight up says he wants us to suffer like we're beneath him. Meanwhile, we got more education, more sense, and we see right through it.
Mom, what do you what do you think? Why would any Canadian want to become American?
It's not up to them.
I don't know. I mean, I do believe the United States is the best place to live.
Why?
Even though our country right now is going through a lot of change because of President Trump, people are going, oh my God, it will get better. And I still believe in our country. I still believe it's the best place to live.
Holy shit. Mom's just as delusional as dad. This is Trump's America right here. Imagine running into these two on a trip to the US. Dad's so unhinged, I wouldn't be shocked if he snapped over nothing.
It's not.
You know, like, okay, Haley, when you want to go out of the country or to a different country, do you really think that you would be able to do your bakery, do all your movements and everything that you say on social media like that in another country?
Yeah, 100%.
And there it is. The kids are clearly more grounded than the parents. Honestly, these two are so deep into the Trump MAGA mindset, it's almost hard to believe. But let's be real. This is exactly the kind of thinking that got us into this political mess in the first place. And sadly, there are millions more like them just across the border. I wanted to end that clip on a lighter note because, yeah, I got a good laugh out of it. Now, welcome to the channel. The main video I want to show today is from an American who actually gets it. It's rare to hear US media speak this plainly and transparent, so when it happens, I think it's worth sharing. If you find this content useful, hit like and subscribe. It helps the algorithm push our videos to more Canadians and our allies who want the truth. Let's get into it.
So, what did the Canadians you talked to say about visiting the States this year? What are they thinking and why aren't they coming?
So the primary Canadian I talked to was a dual citizen. And I asked her, because she travels back and forth, from the US and Canada all the time. I asked her, what people are saying. So a lot of people are kind of boycotting travel and even just spending in general, associated with the United States, over the 51st state comments and the tariffs. So it is both. I think it depends on which person you're talking to. But this source told me people were much more upset with the 51st comment than the tariffs. I mean, the 25% tariffs were baffling. That's the word she used, because Trump did he did sign the previous agreement between Canada and Mexico in 2017-18. And now he's kind of reneging on that. And so a lot of Canadians also expressed confusion, but it really seemed more of a personal offense, really. It was what's keeping people from visiting. However, it does look like it's going to be more older people that are boycotting. Younger people still might come down, especially for hiking, outdoor recreation, that type of thing. But, we'll just kind of have to see.
Is that really true? That only the older generation is boycotting? I'm in my 40s, and honestly, everyone I know is avoiding the US, whether it's travel, shopping, or both. Let us know in the comments how old you are. I'm curious to see where everyone stands.
And just to follow up a little bit, so when they were talking about how they felt about the 51st state comments. What was your sense of I mean, this might sound like an obvious question, but what about that was really bothering them? Like, what was it that was really making them upset to the point that they didn't want to come to America anymore?
If I interpreted it as it's almost like a betrayal from a friend. So the United States and Canada have been allies for a very long time. We fought in World War One together, World War Two, Afghanistan, and we've also been close trading partners, for that entire time as well. And I think a lot of Canadians just feel like things just soured really quickly. It's kind of like having a really good friendship with somebody, and then one day they tell you, I don't want to see you anymore, that type of thing. And I think that just really hurt people. And it turns out, I guess, Canadians have a lot of national pride. And that's where we've kind of seen there has been, like this local campaign to buy more Canadian goods and not spend money in America that we're also seeing from some people.
So there are even marketing campaigns in Canada advising citizens not to visit the States and buy Canadian goods. So what's going on there?
Yes. So that seems to be happening in various different businesses. It seems to be pretty grassroots. I first heard about this actually from my editor, Jeff Feingold, when he was traveling in Canada. When I was working on this piece, he actually wrote to me and said, "Hey, there's actually all these signs in the grocery store that say buy Canadian, and products are labeled as to their origins are labeled, so you can know if you're going to buy the U.S. canned good or the Canadian canned good to encourage local consumption and production."
Most of us already know about the boycott happening in our grocery stores. You see the signs, made in Canada, and it's clear where we stand. But this guy only found out because his colleague visited Canada and noticed. That says a lot. It shows just how unaware many Americans are. And if they don't even know it's happening, they definitely don't understand what it's going to do to their economy.
Another one of my sources is Charlie St. Clair. He's a representative, but he's also the man behind Bike Week. And every year he goes on a big odyssey across the country to promote Bike Week in Laconia, sending out mailers and magazines. And when he told me when he was driving, he was on an AM radio station that was Canadian, and he got an ad saying to, stay home, don't travel to the United States this summer, spend your money in Canada. So it just seems to be a grassroots and populist movement to counter President Trump's rhetoric in the United States' trade war.
So what do you think that will mean for New Hampshire's economy? What sort of impact will that have?
So it's a little difficult to get exact numbers because even the Department of Tourism here doesn't track specifically how many Canadians are coming in, and many of them come through Vermont. But we do know is that the state raises a significant amount of tax revenue from the room and meals tax. And I think in 2023, it was, $455 million was raised. So if you just saw a 5% dip in 450 million, that could be $22 million of lost revenue from Canadians, not spending, on those hotel rooms and those meals and restaurants. But again, we can't really know the exact figure until it happens.
And kind of along the same lines, what about the local tourism industry? Do they see a way to adapt to this change at all?
I think it depends on what region you're in. One of my sources mentioned that they might be able to adapt due to lower gas prices. So we might just get more American visitors traveling, willing to travel and drive into New Hampshire. And that was probably the biggest adaptation I saw. But as far as replacing Canadians specifically, I didn't hear anything about that. But again, you might be able to make up for it with domestic travel.
Yeah. And what about repairing our relationship with Canada? In your reporting, did you get the sense that will be a possibility? And if so, what will it take?
I think that's going to vary from individual to individual. But one theme that I noticed was that there seems to be just more blame at the higher levels. As far as Canadian and American citizen interaction goes, there doesn't seem to be that much bad blood. But when it comes to the top of the pile, the political class, I honestly think a change in American leadership would be a strong first step to that. One of my sources thinks it could take a generation to get over this. I don't know.
He's right about one thing. It could take an entire generation to fix this. A lot of you in the comments have said you're done with the US for the next 4 years. But what happens after that? Sure, Donald might be gone, but his 71 million supporters won't be. And if the Republicans win again with someone just as chaotic, maybe J.D. Vance, we could see the same annexation threats and a 51st rhetoric all over again. That's why we cannot let our guard down. We need to keep pushing, and we need to keep guarding the leaf.
How accurate that is. Again, that's what I said. I think it depends on person to person, but a lot of Canadians do feel very hurt, by this sudden turn on them as a trade partner and as an ally, especially with the rhetoric surrounding being the 51st state. I'm not sure what Trump is trying to achieve with that rhetoric. I don't know if the United States would actually like to manage Canada and add an additional 35 million citizens. And his motivations surrounding the trade war are a bit difficult to splice as well, because if it's not a dissatisfaction with the initial trade deal, he said it's been to pressure them to do more about fentanyl trafficking, but according to the DEA, Canada is not a major supplier of fentanyl to the United States. It is Mexico, China, and India. And then Canada already has its own huge fentanyl problem as well. They're much more of a consumer than an exporter of the drug and the components needed to make it. So I'm not sure what his strategy is in that sense. I understand pressuring Mexico. That makes a lot more sense to pressure Mexico because that's where it's coming from, but in China. But, we'll just have to see.
I agree with him on this. No one really knows what the strategy is right now, not even the current administration. So I have to give credit to this reporter. He says it straight and actually gets what Canadians are going through. That's rare. Most would twist the story or downplay it just to protect the US narrative. So credit where it's due. He did a solid job. That said, this fight with our neighbors down south is just getting started. We've still got nearly 4 long years ahead of us and no idea what comes after. But even when this term ends, do not let your guard down. These 2 clips show both sides. MAGA, parents on one end, and a reporter who actually gets it on the other. Our job is to stay level-headed and stand our ground. If you want to keep following this journey, like and subscribe to the channel. It helps us grow, and make sure you see the next video when it drops. We thank you for your time, and we'll see you in the next video.